Look, most of the time when someone goes missing, they leave something behind. A car left on the side of the road, a phone dropped in a field, maybe a witness who saw something weird, even just a quick look. But some cases, nothing. No physical evidence, no confirmed sightings, no obvious red flags you can point to and say, yeah, that's where it went wrong. Jason Jolkowski's disappearance, it's honestly one of the craziest out there. Here's what went down. On the morning of June 13th, 2001, a 19-year-old kid walked out of his house in Omaha, Nebraska. He was just heading a few blocks down the street to meet up with a buddy. He never made it. Nobody saw him leave the block, nobody walking his route, no weird activity, nothing. Jason Jolkowski just walked out his front door and straight up vanished. In broad daylight, in a quiet neighborhood, on a regular Wednesday morning. And for over 20 years now, not one confirmed sighting, no solid leads, zero answers. Tonight, we're heading back to Omaha, Nebraska, June 13th, 2001. We're tracking the last known steps of a guy who walked into a normal day and never came home. Before we get into the crazy part, we gotta talk about who Jason was, because he wasn't just some cold case file. He was a real person, with a life, with plans, and a family who loved him. Jason Jolkowski was 19 years old. He lived with his parents in Omaha, Nebraska, in a super quiet suburban neighborhood. Everyone who knew him said the same thing. Jason was chill, quiet, super thoughtful, not the type to start drama, and definitely not the type to just disappear without a word. He'd just finished high school and was working a part-time job. He was at that stage where you're just figuring things out, taking it day by day. No big problems, nothing that would hint at what was about to happen. His family said he was as solid as they come. The kind of guy who actually shows up when he says he will. The kind of guy who texts or calls if he's running late. That detail, it's huge. Because on the morning he vanished, Jason was actually the one waiting for a ride. He asked a coworker to pick him up for work. He walked to a nearby spot to meet them. His ride showed up, but Jason wasn't there. Let's set the scene. Wednesday morning, Omaha, Nebraska, early summer. Jason had work that day. He didn't have his own car, so he asked a buddy from work to pick him up. The plan was super simple. Jason walks a few blocks from his house to a school parking lot nearby. His coworker meets him there, then they drive to work together. It wasn't some crazy mission. It wasn't dangerous. It was just your everyday carpool. Jason tells his parents where he's going, walks out the front door, and that was literally the last time his family ever saw him. The coworker pulls up to the spot, that school parking lot just blocks from Jason's house. No Jason. He waits, still no Jason. Figuring something just came up, the coworker eventually leaves. When Jason doesn't clock in for his shift and doesn't come home, his family starts freaking out. They call the cops. A missing person report gets filed. And when detectives start retracing Jason's morning, they find something seriously spooky. The walk from Jason's house to that parking lot was super short, just a few blocks, right through a quiet neighborhood, in broad daylight on a Wednesday morning. There were zero witnesses. Nobody saw Jason walking, nobody saw anything weird, no security cameras caught a thing. Somewhere between his front door and that parking lot, Jason Jolkowski just stopped existing. The cops went all in. They knocked on doors, talked to the neighbors, and traced Jason's exact route. Nothing. No dropped phone or wallet along the way, no signs of a struggle, not one person who remembered seeing a guy who looked like Jason that morning. One of the craziest parts of this case is where it happened. Jason didn't vanish in some creepy woods or on an empty highway. This was a normal suburban neighborhood, the kind of place where people are out walking their dogs, heading to work, and looking out their front windows. And still, nobody saw a thing. Detectives checked every angle. They dug into his personal life, his friends, people he talked to online. They looked to see if anyone had a problem with him or helped him go off the grid. Nothing stuck. His family backed the cops 100%. They never stopped fighting for answers. They even started the Jason Jolkowski Project, an organization to help other missing persons cases. It's been over 20 years. The case is still open, but Jason, still missing. When there's zero evidence, people start guessing. And with Jason, every theory is just a massive headache. Theory 1, the setup. Some internet detectives think Jason was talking to someone online and planned to meet up. Back in 2001, the internet was just blowing up for teens. Chat rooms were huge, and sometimes you connected with people who definitely weren't what they said they were. If Jason thought he was meeting a friend or someone playing it cool, he might have just hopped in a car, no questions asked. No struggle, no scene. This totally explains why there were no witnesses. If he left willingly, even if he got played, nobody would have noticed a thing. Theory 2, the Blitz attack. Others think Jason got taken, quick and clean, by someone who had it all planned out. A quiet street in the morning can leave you wide open. You're walking alone, a van rolls up, boom, seconds between safe and gone. If someone was watching his routine, knowing exactly when he left and what route he took, they could have grabbed him so fast nobody would even have time to react. Theory 3, he bailed. His family shuts this down completely. Everyone says leaving like that is totally not who Jason was. He was solid, close with his family, zero reason to disappear. But since there's literally no evidence either way, cops can't completely write it off. Theory 4, wrong place, wrong time. This one's the hardest to accept. What if it wasn't planned at all? What if he just ran into a random psycho on a random Wednesday? Just a totally unpredictable, bad luck moment on a normal street. If that's true, it makes sense why the trail is ice cold, because there was no master plan for the cops to track down. Every true crime case has that one detail that just messes with your head. With Jason, it's the distance. A few blocks, that's literally it. A few blocks down a quiet street on a sunny Wednesday morning. Cops have walked it. His family has walked it. Internet detectives have mapped it out, trying to wrap their heads around how someone just vanishes in that tiny stretch, trying to figure out the exact second it all went wrong. It makes zero sense. The neighborhood looks exactly the same. Houses, sidewalks, streets. It's the kind of place where bad stuff just doesn't happen. Except it did. Jason walked those few blocks, and somewhere along the way, it all went south. No trace, no witnesses. A straight-up ghost story that nobody's been able to crack for over 20 years. But real talk, behind all the mystery, there's a real family hurting. Jason's parents, Jim and Pat Jolkowski, never gave up. They built the Jason Jolkowski Project from the ground up, trying to find their son, and helping other families going through the exact same nightmare. Jim has talked about how brutal it is to live in the dark, not knowing if your kid is out there or gone. You don't know if you should mourn or hold out hope. All that grief and love just gets stuck with nowhere to go. That kind of limbo, that's pure torture. It never really heals. It just keeps going. Jason's case is still totally open. He's never been declared legally dead. As far as the law is concerned, he's just missing. June 13th, 2001, Omaha, Nebraska. A 19-year-old kid tells his parents he's heading out, walks out the front door, heads toward a parking lot just a few blocks away. He never shows. No witnesses, zero evidence, no answers. Jason would be in his early 40s right now. Could have had a career, a family, someone to call on a Wednesday morning just to talk. Instead, somewhere between his front steps and that lot, something went down. Something that wiped him off the map entirely. Something that's never been explained. The trip was just a few blocks, and somewhere on that short walk, the truth is still hiding. Until they figure it out, Jason is stuck right where that morning left him, mid-step, walking into a regular day and into a silence that's lasted over 20 years. If you have any info on Jason Jolkowski's disappearance, reach out to the Omaha Police Department or the Jason Jolkowski Project. If this story hit you, share it, because sometimes all it takes to crack a cold case wide open is the right person finally catching the vibe.